What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video for today's 10-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Osmo.com. It was an interesting slate yesterday, hopefully one in which you got some decent results based on the stuff we talked about in this video, but unfortunately, no double dong picks down in the comments were correct. Only two guys hit them yesterday, Clint Frazier and Rowdy Tellez. So you know what? What happens when we fall off the horse? We get back on. So right now, like this video, comment your double dong pick for today's 10-game slate. Still a lot of teams with some good Vegas totals, a lot of people who should be hitting some home runs today. So like this video, comment your double dong pick, and if you're correct, you'll get that special shout out in tomorrow's video. Oh, it's a loaded slate for this first corner here. The top pitchers on our slate, and Max Scherzer going against the Mets should be the number one owned option industry-wide. Gets 3.1 implied runs against him, and he'll be number one with 44% on DK, 31% on FanDuel, and 53% on Yahoo. Scherzer's 16% swing strike rate and 12 Ks per nine are at the highest level you can imagine, and his 360 BABIP shows he's actually been pretty unlucky so far this year. The Mets lineup is tougher than it seems, with Brandon Nimmo, Jeff McNeil, Robinson Cano, Pete Alonso. All those guys are above a 123 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching, but it's a spot to trust the talent. Scherzer also at a reasonable price compared to these other guys on the slate. I think it's a decent spot to go to Scherzer. I understand the risk. I understand some of the fears of aces recently, but I'm willing to trust Scherzer today. He is a talented guy. The results haven't been there as much as they should be, and hopefully they will be there today versus the Mets. And in the same matchup, we have Jacob deGrom going against the Nationals. He gets 2.9 implied runs against him, which is tied for lowest on the slate. He's expected to be the number two owned pitcher, pretty much neck and neck with Garrett Cole. It's a similar situation as Scherzer with a very strong 15.3% swing strike rate, 11.6 Ks per nine, along with a 39.7% hard contact rate that seems due to regress. But Washington's projected lineup only strikes out 20.9% of the time versus right-hand pitching. If you want to give them one ding today for deGrom, that would be the one. Washington not striking out a lot. Also, the lineup getting healthier and better as they go. deGrom, I'm still willing to trust again. That last start, certainly a traumatic one for all of us involved, but a spot here I don't mind going to deGrom, and he's a guy I'm getting a lot along with Scherzer in optimization so far today. And Garrett Cole going against the Chicago White Sox should also be a pretty solid option today with 2.9 implied runs for him as well. Cole's got 13.8 Ks per nine and a 16% swing strike rate that's best amongst the top pitchers today. There's lots of Ks in the Chicago White Sox lineup, the 26.5% K rate versus right-hand pitching this year. So even though he's the most expensive, he does feel like the safest. You're paying a premium here in the hopes that he doesn't get blown up like both Scherzer and deGrom have been recently. I like the spot for Cole. I'm willing to get there, but the price may be tough to figure out given the fact that there are a lot of hitters you're going to have today at high prices on today's slate. On to our next corner, the top stacks on today's slate, and a Yankee stack going against Dan Straley should be one of the best ones you'll find today. They get 6.3 implied runs for them, which is a slate high, and Straley allows a 1.9 whip, 7.2 xFIP, 12.9 hits per nine, and a 6.7% home run rate, all of which are the worst on the slate. The Yankees have a 14% chance of being top stack according to our top stacks tool at Osmo.com, and they also seem like they're going to be under-owned for this perfect spot of bad pitching plus a positive hitting park with only 8% ownership projected for the stack. It's a really good spot once again for the Yankees. Again, Camden Yards has been one of the best hitting parks on the year. The Orioles also bad. Their bullpen also really bad. Straley really bad. I can't emphasize enough. I think it's important to have Sam Yankees in there either as a stack, one-off, mini stacks. Just get them in there. A Cubs stack going against Cole Irvin also seems interesting with 5.9 implied runs in their favor. That's a noteworthy team total in the pitching park going against a young pitcher who has a brutal 6.2% swing strike rate and 4.9 Ks per nine and a very limited sample size so far. It's not a big sample for Irvin, but he's been rocked by lefties with 11.6 hits per nine and 44% hard contact allowed. But the entire Cubs lineup looks viable. Some interesting value in guys like David Bodie, Addison Russell, and Jason Hayward. Again, this team total really jumps out at Wrigley Field. It's a very high number for the Cubs at home. I like the spot here versus Irvin. I think Vegas is really expecting him to have a tough day today. And a Houston stack versus Ivan Nova also interests me with 5.6 implied runs for them. The Houston prices remain high, but Nova's 13.1 hits per nine and 4.5% home run rate offer a lot of opportunity. It's hard to stack Houston with the top pitchers, but the stack should be significantly underowned compared to their chances of being the top performer because of their prices. So it's a spot here. If you get to Houston, you're not going to find a lot of people in the field with you. So if Houston blows up today, it's a decent shot of them providing value. You just have to figure out the cheap pitching that you're going to have along with them. Now onto the lower owned options on today's slate, and a Boston stack going against Aaron Sanchez is one of those teams. They get 5.2 implied runs in their favor. Sanchez has limited home runs decently with a 2.6% rate on the year, but there's tons of power for Boston in a park with a positive home run park factor. Another premium price team here for Boston, but Mookie Betts, JD Martinez, Mitch Moreland, Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, and Michael Chavis are all over a 4.3% home run rate versus right-hand pitching. They could pay dividends here. Another team who probably won't be owned a bunch because of the pricing on them. I think it's a decent spot to go to Boston as long as you could figure out that pitching situation again. Max Fried at San Francisco also interests me with 3.4 implied runs against him. San Francisco's got a brutal 66 WRC plus, 111 ISO, and also a not great 24.6% K rate versus left-hand pitching on the year. Fried isn't overpowering with just 8.2 Ks per nine, and he will have some ownership on SP2 sites, but he does seem low risk with some upside. Fried, a guy who's a decent pitcher. The results maybe haven't been there as much as they should be on the year. I like the spot for Fried being in a positive pitching park also is going to help him out, and the San Francisco lineup not going to offer a lot of resistance. This one's going to depend on your appetite for risk, but CC Sabathia going against Baltimore Baltimore interests me. Gets 4.2 implied runs against him, and it's a dangerous spot given CC's 5.9% home run rate in a home run-prone park. But Baltimore's got a 27.5% K rate versus left-hand pitching that does offer a bit of hope. I think Martin Perez is a better, more expensive option versus an Angels team that's really iffy versus left-hand pitching. But if CC's Vegas total doesn't rise or comes down today, I think CC could be viable. I know you don't want to trust him. I know he's an older, heavy-set pitcher, maybe not offering a ton of physical specimen value that you're going to try to get from him, but he's a guy who can get there versus the Baltimore lineup who strikes out a lot. So I'm interested, even though I am very cautious. And given that high-priced pitching, you may want to consider some cheap stacks today. And Miami and Detroit stacks interest me a bit. They have 4.3 and 4.7 implied runs respectively, and they both are facing mediocre pitchers in Daniel Norris and Jose Urena, who also both allow over 10 hits per 9 with positive park factors in Detroit. It's a decent value opportunity for both sides, and that's really the main reason you're going there, so you can afford the higher price pitching. I don't mind the spot. It does feel like it's going to be a bad spot if these teams end up being higher owned, but if they are going to be decently low owned, I don't mind going to Miami. I don't mind going to Detroit, but you may have to hold your nose. And the last corner I want to hit in are the one-offs on today's slate, and Luke Voit going against Dan Straley's guy I like a lot. Voit wasn't heavily involved in yesterday's Baltimore barrage, but a 6.2% home run rate versus right-hand pitching could pay dividends given Straley's awfulness and the plus hitting park. Voigt's a guy who I like a lot. He has a ton of home run power. He wasn't involved yesterday, maybe due to get involved today, but either way, just anybody on this Yankees, get him in one-offs, get him in mini stacks, get him in full stacks, just do it. Eddie Rosario versus Matt Harvey also interested you, with Harvey allowing a 4.8% home run rate to lefties, while Rosario is bringing a 5.3% home run rate versus right-hand pitching. He's also in the Angels' home run heavy park. We saw that Twins lineup go off after I talked about them in yesterday's video. Marwin Gonzalez was the big guy there, who I'm very happy with. Thank you, Marwin. But Eddie Rosario, I think today could be his day. I like the spot versus Harvey. I like the park, and I like the stack too, even though I didn't mention them fully today. Nico Goodrum versus Jose Urena also interests me, with Goodrum's dual position eligibility a plus. He's also at a cheap price hitting leadoff with a 200 ISO and a 3.6% home run rate. He's going against Urena, who's weaker versus the left side of the plate, and he allows a 3.6% home run rate of his own, while also only striking out 5.9 Ks per 9 against the left side of the plate. I think the spot here for Goodrum's a good one. He's at a reasonable price, and if you don't want to go to that full Detroit stack, maybe he saves you enough money to make some things happen. Again, not a guy I feel as confident as the other two one-offs, but he's in a nice spot, and I'm willing to go to him today. So there are my thoughts on today's slate. So right now, like this video, leave a comment down below with your double dong pick. Somebody's going to get there today. I feel good about it. I'm confident in all you guys. You guys have been so smart all year. So like the video, comment your double dong pick down below, and if you are correct, if anybody's correct, you'll get a special shout out in tomorrow's Four Corners video. And use this promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE for half off your first month of any Osmo.com package. All the ownership projections, rankings, the top stacks tool, which we've been mentioning a bunch, the deep dive column, which is a great way to get you prepared before the deeper dive show, and live before lock, which I'll be on later today, so tune in. A lot of ways you can get better at DFS every single day with our premium memberships at Osmo.com. So go there right now, use that promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another Four Corners video, so good luck.